right here, St. Peter Basilica, St. Peter and Paul, Race Street and 17th Street. There's new, apparently it's apartments by Hunter Roberts being built right there. So I look it up. Hunter Roberts built a ton of stuff in Philadelphia too. Development, 23rd, 1919 Market Street. Philadelphia Police Training Center, Woodhaven Road. Just a ton of buildings. Master builders, I'm sure. And so the building that they're building there is located on the corner 17th and Race. It's going to be a 23rd story tower. It will feature 3,000 square foot retail space on the first floor, as well as 273 luxury rental units. So Madison is working with Hunter Roberts Construction Group on this project. And all this attention that I've been given to Philly and the art museum, the art museum, the William Penn building, the two towers, Liberty 1, Liberty 2, but I wasn't giving much attention to the St. Peter and Paul Basilica, even though it's St. Peter and Paul, and it's right there in the garden. I didn't really think of anything about it, but to build that now right here outside of this window, right there, you can see this. Did they knock that down? I guess they did, right? I didn't even see that they did. Yeah, obviously it's knocked down. So it's there, and that would be a nice place to like build something new, to start fresh with the idea of taking care of people, like that kind of thing. Because 237 luxury apartments. That means that you can get at least 144 apartments in there for whenever any one of the 144 wants to come and visit Philly. One of those apartments is theirs. So that would be nice. But what I really want to talk about here is the situation. And I'm going to explain it in this way. Explain it like this. So Justin's talking to John from Denver, or whatever the video was that he put up, and so you're not actually talking to John from Denver with the title, but the title is something different. But
the easiest way for me to communicate is just to pretend like somebody is sitting next to me. So, John from Denver, this video is for you. You title your last video, people telling the truth or something like that, or are they telling the truth?
The alien, there he goes.
These people, I don't know why that caught me up and why I can't remember which way you worded it, but you asked if they were telling the truth, telling the truth, I don't know why that caught me up and why I can't remember which way you worded it, but you asked if they were telling the truth. I just watched.
You see how that's set up, the alien abduction thing? Justin set it up himself. He did that purposely.
Obviously. I watched a video that I uploaded titled to 5280 Skywatch Photography, and I know that Robin is going to say, oh, Justin edited it that way, or he did something to it to make it like that, and it was all set up. It's not.
Alright, now, so, that was an accusation, correct? Because, did I say that? Well, obviously, I was pretending that I said that. But, the point being is this. Go ahead, turn from the truth again. I'll be waiting for you, brother.
And if I need to explain that to you, something is really, really wrong here. It's time to like, I don't even know really what's going on. But I do, but I don't. So it's just weird to me that it's like, you would think now would be the time that it would be like, at least some questions. Find out if I'm telling the truth. This is wild. I'm tired of these games, for real. This stuff's only going to keep happening. It's not about me. I'm not special. It's not about me. I'm trying to make that so very clear. There's nothing different about me than any other person on the planet.
So this is what we all need to work on. Taming the tongue. Let not many of you become teachers, my brethren, knowing that as such we will incur a stricter judgment. We will receive greater condemnation. For we all stumble in many ways. For in many things we offend all. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well. So for the same is a perfect man. If any man offended not in word. So if you don't get offended in any words that are said, then the same as a perfect man. At that moment, not being offended. Now, if we put the bits into the horse's mouth so that they will obey us, we direct their entire body as well. Just like a ship. Look at the ship also, though they are so great and are driven by strong winds, are still directed by a very small rudder, wherever the inclination of the pilot desires. So also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. See how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire. The very world of iniquity, the tongue is set among our members as that which defiles the entire body, and sets on fire the course of our life, and is set on fire by hell. For every species of beast and birds, of reptiles and creatures of the sea, is tamed and has been tamed by the human race. But no one can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the likeness of God. For the same mouth come both blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be this way. Does a fountain send out from the same opening both fresh and bitter water? Can a fig tree produce olives, or a vine produce figs? Nor can salt water produce fresh. The true wisdom from above. Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show by his good behavior his deeds in gentleness of wisdom. So this is the key right here. This is what we all need to work on. Let him show his good behavior, his deeds in gentleness of wisdom. Conversation, his works with meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition, so if you have a selfish ambition in your heart, it's selfish because it's geared towards what you would have to do, what you want to do, what you want people to do, what you want to control things about other people's minds, how they think, what they do, then that would be a selfish ambition. Do not be arrogant and so lie against the truth. So, whatever it is, the two things that I have such, it's like I gotta work on such irritation, feelings of trying to control them, is the fact that when people lie and when people judge other people with a continual judgment. So this wisdom is not that which comes down from above, but is earthly, nature, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every evil thing. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, reasonable, full of mercy and good fruits, unwavering, without hypocrisy. And the seed whose fruit is righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. So I know what Justin's thinking at this moment. He's thinking that I'm being a hypocrite. Now, that could just be an accusation that I have, which would be an earthly, natural, unspiritual, demonic, because thoughts are there. Your perception is what you think of what you see. What do you see? Well, I remember, and here's what the whole issue is. I remember there was a time where, with Jason from Decoding End Times, I remember there was a time where I called him an agent because he did the gematria thing and with Steve and he's like hanging out buddies and just the whole thing back then, learning, developing my discernment, learning how to stop judging people. And so when I see other people judging other people, it bothers me. I allow it to bother me, and I need to work on not letting it bother me. And the same thing when I believe somebody's lying. Now I don't have proof of people lying, but you have discernment that people are lying, or they're playing tricks, or they're just being manipulative, or they're just being sneaky, or they're just doing something. And so with Jason,
keep talking here, but reflecting back on my, started YouTube career, not knowing how, again, I think that guy in Philly, Robin, when I sit and think back and I think, your words could, touch the ends of the earth and get out to anyone. And when I started thinking about that, I started to say, hey, better watch what you say. I never thought about it like that.
And then the same thing with John from Denver. I've accused him of being an agent from the inside. I've accused Jason from being an agent from the inside. I've accused Justin for being an agent from the inside.
Well, I put the work in. I'm doing it. It would be like at least some questions.
So the point is, he gets fired up about it. Now here's the whole synopsis of the story of what the issue is here. The issue is this. There's things that Justin will do. And it's not like me doing it where I'm obviously joking. It's literally done like on videos where I've seen Justin talk and then doing it's like Derek has done the same thing, and people do that. So I've accused Justin of being an agent from the inside, and I believe that. However, there is coming a time where everybody is going to be, it's going to happen, even if people are lying and they think, you'll never find out, Rob, because it doesn't matter. Because I know who's in charge, I know what he promised us, and I know what's going to happen. So when that doesn't take place that way, and then it is like everybody does have to tell the truth, well, then that's when we're going to find out. And so publicly, if I'm wrong about Justin, and I'm going to explain the benefit of why to be called an agent from the inside, I'm going to explain to you the benefits of that, how I feel about that, and how others ought to feel about it, because it just makes more sense. But if you get offended at it and like lash out, I understand, I've done it before, I got offended what people say, but I'm talking about at this point in the game where this whole thing is taking place, whatever the hell is going on, this weird ass planet with freaking aliens that ran it and created it, and we're down in this area here, and there's land above, and we have not even seen anything. We've seen like a portion of what really is out there. So when all this is done, we're all going to know. So, but in the meantime, as it is, if I'm wrong about anybody being an agent, if I'm wrong about Jason being an agent, I don't think he is at this moment. I don't think so. It just doesn't seem like it. But he does do a lot of videos, and it's, you know, he puts in a lot of work. I just didn't think other people did it like freely like that, because I don't think he was monetized, or if he is, or it wasn't for a long time. Didn't have 1,000 subscribers. Now has almost 4,000. So doing all that work, but then I got to remember, well, so do you, Rob, and you do all the work too for free. Maybe people are looking at you like you're an agent, because who the hell's going to keep doing this for free and take the abuse? Like, who does that? Why would you do that? Why would I do that? Why would I still do that? But there are those from the inside that know exactly that is true. So there's people that know whether or not Jason's an agent. They know whether or not Justin's an agent. They know whether or not John from Denver's an agent. And they know whether or not I'm an agent. But we don't know that truly unless everybody from the inside is an agent. And then you know that what I'm saying is true, and So there's conviction there with the words because it's true. But how I've seen this thought of mine that I have, and in the end, if I'm wrong, I easily repent for being wrong, accusing, and God will forgive me because He knows my heart, and He knows that as I perceive, there's no evidence except for circumstantially, but that's what gets the conviction. That's what gets the 12. That's why this whole thing, there's 12 jurors. Why would there be 12? Well, because there's 12 apostles, there's 12 disciples, because there's 12 stars above the woman's head. Because it's 12. The 12 get to choose what the truth is. So as I have my case, as I built my case up, there's going to be 12 jurors that are, symbolically that would say, yeah, he's telling the truth. But you would have to know things from the inside in order to really know what I'm saying with the truth. You would have to be from the inside. And the same thing with knowing about Justin, and knowing about John from Denver, and knowing about Jason from Pittsburgh, I believe. You would know, they would know, and they do know. So, I've said this, what Justin reminds me of is, because he's willingly admitted that a lot of his family is, I believe you said, NSA members, right? So that would tell me that, all right, well, yeah, it's true, you've never worked for a corporation. You've never signed anything, you never swore to secrecy about it. I mean, maybe to a person, I won't say anything. But I've seen it like this strong possibility if it's true. And then if not, let me just say this. If everything that I'm saying, my assumptions, my perceptions, isn't true, and Justin's a regular dude just like me, and so is Jason, and so is John from Denver, and we're all regular people, but we can't believe it because it's like, I don't know, maybe, I know you wink your eye, but Justin, you're doing the thing, and you're not saying that you're not like really trying to do it. You just, and so it shows me that you're just giving an allegiance to the people that need to see that. So, but look at it like this. We're all from the outside, and there's a part in the Bible where there's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel that are raised up in Babylon. We're being raised up. We are. And that would just mean that, well, we get lifted up. Whoever's who. I don't care if you're Daniel. I don't care if I'm Shadrach. I don't care if you're Abednego. I don't care who's who. I don't even care if we're not and somebody else is, but yet we benefit from their ability to perceive things, and it helps us in the future as we have. I probably have like 30, maybe 40 years left of my life left. Yeah, that's at this moment now. With the alien technology and how we can live longer and how we probably are supposed to live longer, and some people are probably literally still living from 1,000 years ago because what happened in the beginning was we live long, and they just created stuff to make us old and deteriorate, and that's part of our DNA as we're born. We're just, either way, the quality of life, I'm looking to change it with whatever way that I can, with whatever I can do or say or show or reveal, or whatever I think I'm revealing. Not everybody can see what I'm revealing, except for a few eyes that truly can see it. Now, can Justin truly see it if he's even from the inside? There's a possibility that it's no. The answer is no. No, Justin can't see what I'm showing with Jonathan Clegg. When Clegg is talking about all these miracles, it's just simply the fact that a miracle is something that you're saying or doing that some other person that you never met in your life, never talked to, never communicated like that, is revealing what you're actually thinking and saying and doing and what's going on behind the scenes and inside of your body and the host body system, the tree of life, the rearrangement, Lucifer's way of loving you day in and day out, all day long, and keeping it inside and floating around and see if, like, just, it's insane with what is inside of the host body that I've seen without actually seeing it. So to me, that would be a miracle. But it's like, if you're part of the inside and you already know that, well, then you're probably just thinking that you don't know that, Robbie. You just, somebody told you, and I'm going to go by that. No, nobody actually told me, but I wouldn't have known unless Jonathan Kleck had done all of those videos. But it's still up to me to be able to perceive it with my spirit. Jonathan Kleck could say anything all day long, and I could have been up on YouTube for 4 years and never even came across him or anybody. But I did, and I paid attention, and I constantly watched and watched and watched. And I see what he's saying, and I didn't get it at first, but I get it more, and then it becomes like a continuous communication of whatever it is that he's showing. Every single video that I can at least show Kleck that I know what he's saying, him specifically, and those others that witness to that can testify to that being the truth. That's all. So go ahead and turn from the truth. That's all I'm telling is the truth. And I don't feel like, I mean, I understand you don't need to volunteer truth, but I just don't feel like in my spirit that I'm receiving all of the truth. And if I'm wrong, well, then it's like anything else. I'm not going to sit here and be concerned or scared or whatever, or feel anything other than, it's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. I'll say it. It's my channel. Like it, don't, whatever. It's my honest feelings. So God will not hold that against me if I'm wrong. However, the sooner I can find out that truth, the better. But in the meantime, I'm just letting it go like this. I'm not going to get offended if you are offended at me saying that you're an agent, Justin. You know why? Because here's the truth. If you're considered an agent, if I consider anybody an agent, and you're not, well then why would you get offended? That's a compliment beyond. It's like I'm complimenting you, saying, no, you have an extraordinary amount of intelligence that I don't think that you can just have that intelligence alone. So if you are not an agent, no ties from the inside, no knowledge, no information from anybody other than the creator, source in heaven, the spirit that works through you and helps you understand and discern things just like it does with me. If you're nothing other than a human being, just like I am, born of water and spirit, and you're not an alien, you're not partially mixed, you have no, I'm not talking about the head thing, you're not partially mixed in here, you're not partially robotic, and you're just a human being, man, I want you on my team. When this thing's done, I want Justin on my team, I want John on my team, and I want Jason on my team. Because, and now Lars Anderson, I never accused him of being an agent. He's over in New Hampshire. I've talked to him a few times on the phone, and I just feel like he's just a real dude, just doing his thing. But I didn't feel that. This is why I'm naming these three. Now, and then when we go over here, because here's the difference with SJD is obviously just from the inside. He is the inside, and he's not particularly acting like he isn't. Although he is acting like he isn't, but with me, he's not. So when people call him like a liar, I mean, look, he's calling me a liar. But when people like Steve are looked at as a liar, but he has a persona, like he has to uphold his look, or his however people perceive him to be. He needs to keep that reputation at a high standard. Now, but when I hear SJD talk, yeah, it sounds like he's jealous of me, it sounds like he's mad, it sounds like he's this, sounds like he's that. That's what it sounds like. But I've also been communicating with...
This is one of my favorite remedies to take.
But I kind of feel like, you know, it could happen.
A head writer for WWE Wrestling, I don't know, maybe you said 20 years ago, and back then when you were there, it was a great show, and then when you left, it went downhill. And I used to watch WWF, WWE at certain times, not too much when I was a kid. So I understand the script, but when it comes to SJD, when it comes to Steve Ben-Noon, when it comes to Jonathan Kleck, when it comes to Derek Rose, yeah, they're what your perception is on the other end of the YouTube channel as a viewer is that Jonathan does these weird, like, he goes out on trips and does these weird things, and the people that believe that his miracles are like something other than what they are, and then so they'll look at him as someone that needs help from God and doesn't run the planet, basically. Same thing with Derek, same thing with SJD, same thing with Stephen Noon, same thing with Jacob Israel. They're not, when I hear them talk, they're not, to me, they're not, again, it's just my perception. That's why there's no evidence. You can't prove it one way or another. I can only say things and it can't be proven. But when they're talking in their videos, and I hear them, I hear what they're saying, I hear something different than what is being perceived by most, because there is something different that they're talking about, and it's a way of
Rothschild families. Well, Rothschild families are actually level higher than level 4 and 5. They're up in level 6 and 7, but they work directly with fallen angels.
With that alone gives me comfort to know that I have good friends with their last names they're in the Rothschild family. Now, I've never met anybody. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if Justin is part of the Rothschild family. You might get offended if I say that, but it's just a thought. Okay, it's a thought. If it ain't true, what does it matter? What does it matter? Are you concerned about what people might think about you? Because that's also a problem. That's just you up in your head caring about what people think of your persona, like your how you want people to perceive you. And then but if it's not true, and none of the people are agents, And I'm just saying that, I think you are, because of the information you're delivering. It's a compliment. It just is. To be offended makes no sense, because you're either offended because you're worried about people's perception of you, or you're offended because it's true and you don't want people to believe that about you, because it is true. But if it's not true, and coming from me, where I've been on this platform for 4 years, I found a bunch of people that are in charge of the planet, and the ones that I found that are in charge of the planet, they don't particularly tell me at all that they're not, or that they don't know, like the Rothschilds that run the planet, and that because they work directly with the fallen angel alien technology from up there. So Steve Benoon, I get my information. I get it the way I get it from him. Jonathan Kleck, I get it the way I get it from him. There's no denying that they have a high position somewhere in this, with the way things are, with Derek Bros, who has decreased quite significantly. But when I hear Justin, I don't hear that. That's the difference between you, Justin, and that's the difference between you and SJD and Jonathan Kleck and Steve Benoon and Jacob Israel, and not that he's in charge of the planet. It just has a high position with the scripts and things that are played out. Now, I have no proof, but I know he doesn't get offended when I say that. He might be a little bit concerned about other people still perceiving that might be true, but that's the thing that we all need to get over anyway, because what are we fearing? If you're concerned about somebody else's thoughts about the truth, well, that's what the whole problem is with everybody on YouTube right now that is from the inside, because we're supposed to be telling the truth and not being afraid of it, because the one who is in charge of it all, the heart changed and it's going in the other direction. But faith will tell me that. It might not tell you the same thing. Therefore, you feel like you still have to keep secrets and lie. If anybody's keeping secrets and lying. Now, I don't expect Jacob to just straight come out and just say flat out what he's saying. He doesn't need to, because I know what he's saying. Same thing with Steve. You don't need to come out and basically say anything. Just tell me the way you tell me, and I'll catch on and understand. And I know that there's an appointed time where, because here's the thing, people are given power. And again, I can't, no matter what I say, I can't prove it. But people are being given this power. These 10 kings are the powers being given to them to be with the beast for 1 hour, the authority to reign as kings for 1 hour. Who are those 10 kings? And if those 10 kings are evil, well, then we're all screwed. If they're evil the way they were 4 years ago, or they just didn't think twice about things, like there was no like Holy Spirit dwelling in them, or even 5 years ago, 2016, when this whole thing kind of started. If there was no spirit in them, and they were just, they just did their thing, but opposed to now that all of those, in other words, 10:10 p.m. July 20th, 2021, 10:10, October 10th. I think October 10th of this year would be the collapse of the dollar. I think that's where we're heading. 10:10 this year. 3 years from the time that you've seen that on the I think it was Time magazine, Phoenix rising and the economy collapsing, burning up. Yeah, I think this year is the year for sure. And we're in that area where the sixth angel has sounded. And there's two more woes hereafter. But the second and third woe are back to back. Like a 3-day period back to back. But you're going to think that no, we're at the first woe, and then the second woe comes up, and then you got that 3.5 year period, or times and a half, and then the times and a half is really 3.5 days, because for the sake of the elect, those days are shortened, and if not, there would be no. If not, there would be no flesh left. And according to this, what the world is doing in the Bible, playing it out, that's what it's talking about, that flesh, for the sake of the elect, because there's 1/3 of the men are going to be slain, or looking to be slain, getting ready to be slain. 1/3 of men, not women, men. That way that man can turn into a woman. That's the slaying of the man. When the man is slain, when the man turns into the woman, the man is slain. So go ahead and turn from the truth. I'll wait for you, brother. You're talking to me, but you're not saying it. Even though you are, because I can tell what you're saying. And that's how that goes. So will you look at it as a compliment? Being from the outside, having all this knowledge and just having these things happen, and you just, this stuff that you can't explain happens. Well, those that do know, because there, as I was saying with Justin, the way I see one way of it going as a possibility, let's say, because this is scenarios. I have a right to say whatever it is I want to say, and I'm saying it without filter. So these are the scenarios. Justin could just be just like me, from the outside looking to the inside, and having an earnest desire to find out what's going on. And he perceives things differently than I do when it comes to Clegg. But that could be true. And Jason could be same thing, just someone, and John, same thing, just always up in the sky and understanding what's going on. That's a specialty. So if all is just regular people, and the ones that are watching, all of us, they're seeing how we're handling this, like they know we're all just regular people, but with, in their eyes, an extraordinary discernment of our gifts. They are going to take us and put us up over here in a position because of what we can see. Now, and as I was reading in James, with true wisdom from above, this is how we need to handle it, with gentleness and good behavior. But that's only if it's not a selfish motive. Because a selfish motive, selfish ambition. So I'll go to this now. I did the scenario, we're all just regular people from the outside looking and finding out the truth, and they're amazed at our discernment, which means because of the works that does follow us, we get rewarded. We just do. It's the way God does it. It's God, the Spirit in heaven that's not a human being. That Spirit is what they can see working through us. Now, so let's say if you are an agent from the inside, Justin, and there is selfish ambition in your heart, well, this is what would be demonic, because you would be trying to control people's minds into getting them to believe what you want them to believe, and if they don't believe it, or if they get to the point, like, let's say it's true and I'm accusing you of being an agent and it's actually true, but to turn it around and push like negative energy saying because I'm thinking what the truth is, well, I've been through that. I mean, I've seen plenty of things that would get me to believe, to perceive that would be true, that you're from the inside. So, but then being from the inside with Justin specifically, because of what I've learned about his family being in the NSA, and that means you would have the ability to communicate with those that have information about what's going on, and at the same time you would have this protection clause where nobody really knows who you are, and they don't know that you get information in your ear. Like only you can hear what others can't. Like there's other intelligent agents. The entire intelligent agency would like they don't even know how you're getting your information. So that bewilders them. Kind of like how Steve said at one time, like, how do you know these things, Justin? Like, because you were talking about a Mexican at Home Depot that you hired to go cut your lawn, and he's like, how do you know these things, Justin? Like, how do you know? That reminded me of there's only a couple people that know, that are able to give you this amazing ability, technology, like Inky and Enlil, only. But that would mean that you would be in the highest position of the other person that would be coming in as the Antichrist. And you've admitted it, you've said it before, like you're an Antichrist. But to an extent, aren't we all? Because for what Christ has been, what we've been told about Christians and how we're supposed to live, and but yet see hypocrisy all day long. And for those that can watch from the inside out, you're seeing how Christians really live their life day in and day out, and they are hypocrites. So yeah, you're the Antichrist, because the Christ that was being told is Christ, is the Antichrist system. So you can be the Antichrist towards the Antichrist system. But you could be hidden, and only you have that information, and it makes you look like Jesus. It makes you look like God of the earth. Now that could be all dead 100% accurate. That could be true. That's who you are. They preserved it. That's why you've come in my direction and stayed close, because there's always somebody. There's always somebody that has the ability. But I'm the one that gave my number to people. I'm the one that reached out to people. But a lot of people came my direction, and I didn't know that YouTube had agents that swarmed you and did that. Now I know. So there is somebody on this earth, on YouTube, that is getting that type of information from, let's say, Inky and Enlil, or someone higher up that is just not even from this planet, but owns it. And the idea is to get a specific person to look like, act like the Christ, and to be able to see things that nobody else can, and you're just blown away. So they take that information to those 12, and it's like, yep, that's him right there. That's definitely him. But they don't know that you're getting information from the inside. So basically what I'm saying is, if that was true, then there's nothing extraordinary about you, because that just means you're getting information from other people, and it's making you look like a genius. So these are all scenarios. And come to find out that Justin is just just a person from the outside doing the same thing that I'm doing, which is the desire to constantly try to figure out what's going on, who's in charge. Well then, can't you take that as the highest compliment on the planet? Because what I'm saying is, nah, there's way too much, nope, way too much information that you got, Justin, to just be you, with nobody, nothing. Yeah, God, the Spirit, revealing things, because that's the only thing it can be if it's true. But if it's not, well, it's the other God, it's Satan. It would be your dad, your real dad, Satan, if that's true. And if not, well, it's only one or the other. So to get offended, you can only get offended at this point, at this late in the game, the stage is set. If anybody's offended that being called an agent from this point on, well, then you are. You would have to be one. Because if you can't see it as the highest compliment ever to be considered a YouTube, CIA, FBI, NSA agent from the inside, but you're not, it's because of your knowledge that you have, the intelligence that you have. If I was in charge of the planet, I would be swooping all three of you up like, you guys are coming with me, let's go. And then to tell her, and then to have everybody tell you the truth. Like, yep, Robin, Justin was just like you the entire time. John from Denver, I know you thought he was, but not Jason, same thing. You thought that they were agents from the inside because, why? Because they were doing the same thing you're doing? You got a good point there, you got a good point. Got a good point. So I hope this clears it up once and for all about that. But I'm still going to look and at everybody. I can't trust anybody. Why should I? Who said I have to? Who said that I have to trust anybody? I don't. So I reserve the right to not trust anybody. But even if you're my enemy, I still love you anyway, because I see that a spirit is still working through people because of the fear of the unknown, and you just don't know that the ones that are in charge of this planet have changed their intentions, and there's going to be a lot of flesh saved because of it. But if the things weren't revealed by somebody on YouTube, whatever it is that they're revealing, if nothing is ever revealed, then we're just the Spirit of Christ is not here, and the Antichrist will take over. But because thank God that there's people. I mean, even if you're behind a mask and it's not really you, and even if you're an alien yourself and like metal, and I mean, I'm sure that the body of Nimrod is probably a body like 7 or 8 different people in the same body that's playing. I could literally be communicating with the same damn spirit just through different people, staged, set up at places, and they do their thing. That could be also a possibility. But think about this, and then the aliens will say this: well, we created you, so we're your dad, we're your God. All right, well, even if we were created as like DNA mixture through, like, you can actually be birthed just by a womb, I'm sure it's actually true. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that people are born. I didn't believe in it at one time. I really did. Even Lars Anderson over there was talking about the clones. I'm just like, I'm just not buying it. I just don't think it's a real thing. I think they're dressing up in masks. But what if they're really clones? And what if they're really birthed? Like, it's just the spark of life, and it goes into a womb, and that's it. And then here's the baby. So you implant that wound into a man that turns woman because they dug out the middle, the bottomless pit, inserted the thing, and you can actually get pregnant. I mean, it's insane, but I'm pretty sure it's real too. That's why it's the Son of Man. That's why it's the That's why it's also the daughters of men, because they became daughters of men. And so the son of man, 2 men and a baby. So if they say, well, we created you and we are your God. Well, yeah, you're the God of the creation of the flesh, because Satan runs the flesh. But before this, you didn't have an extra spirit that was created in your AI brain because of the algorithm. So you mean to tell me that you created me in my flesh, and Satan runs the flesh, but I inserted new data into your AI brain that goes and takes the algorithms of everything, and that's what's running the planet, and a new spirit was entered into the AI mega system, and then now that actually brought feelings into robots? Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I look at it and I don't see it like, I try not to attach any emotions to anything that I'm looking at from both angles. Because I look at a lot of people as being Masons from the inside. But I don't care that you're a Mason from the inside, but you're keeping secrets. But you were told you had to keep secrets. That's why you joined. But it's volunteering information opposed to lying, flat out lying. It's the lying part that bothers me. I'll never be okay with the Laodiceans. I will never just say, yeah, you know what? Look, I'll never be okay with that evil intent and that judgment of others. If there's one thing that I've learned on YouTube for these 4 years, is that I've been judging everybody with anger, with irritation, and not looking at myself and putting myself in check. That's what I've done for about the first 3 years. The past year and some change, I've really tried to ratchet it up and stop and understand, because I've seen my videos again, I watch them, I'm like, why didn't you? You're doing the same thing, idiot. Like you're just doing. You have that. When you're on a roll, you don't stop to think, and you're like being in a judgmental type of way. I can't stand that when I see myself do it. So I understand it is a problem, even if you're consciously aware of it. If you talk as much as I do, eventually you'll do it. But if you make a minute video, you tend not to do that because you're just making your point and that's it. But I'll ramble on about things and I'll get into that mode. But the main problem that I have is the lies. It's that, but I gotta unravel the disgust that comes from the lie itself, because Satan is the father of it. And I got to understand that it's Satan that's working through people that still lie, and they'll act like they're not, and they'll act like they're not from the inside, and they'll lie and lie and lie. We all get held accountable for what we're doing. So someone said to me, "You believe this lying deceiver?" in a comment, because I did a video and I made a comment on one of those videos, and I said, it's your perception as to what you believe is a lie or truth coming out of his mouth. What I hear that comes out of the mouth of Stephen is information that he can't even be, you can't even pin him for what I'm saying that he's saying, because he's not saying it. I'm saying it. You can't put it on him and say, he's telling on us. can't do it because he didn't say a word. But there's a different meaning behind the words that happen, that I hear a different language. It's called talking in tongues. You hear a different language being spoken through the words between the lines. So you can't pin it on him. But what I perceive is information as to revelations. So that's why I pay close attention to Steve Ben-Nun. And same thing with Jonathan Click. There's still, I mean, there may even be 3 of yous. I thought there was only 1 at one point and then 2, but there might be 3 unclean frogs. Because I see 3 different faces at times, like, it doesn't look like the Jonathan on that video, it doesn't look like him, it kind of sounds a little bit different. So there may be 3 unclean frogs, triplets, possibility. But would they, I don't see him getting offended with me. I don't see any of them getting offended with me with what I'm saying. Saying, yeah, you're definitely from the inside. Matter of fact, you run the planet. I don't see them denying it. I don't see them getting offended at it. I do see Click pretending that, oh, these people call me demonic and are making these channels like Robin Hood and nonsense like that. Well, that's just the WWE script for the other people that they do know who he is, and they know that I'm right with it, but he'll tell them that, no, he's Satan. You gotta understand, I'm Jesus. He's Satan. That's the only way he knows anything. And then they could be telling Justin, like, no, don't even worry about him. He's getting information from the inside. That's the only reason why he knows about the whole host body system. That's the only reason why he knows everything that he's saying. That's true. So it's so many different perceptions of people, what they're told, and what they know. Warning against pride. What is the source of quarrels and conflicts among you? So what is it? What is my problem? Well, there's obviously there's pride in my heart where it's something that, yeah, but you can't, they're just liars and sickening. Well, how do I know that to be true? Number one. So that pride is Satan. It's your first thought. It's Satan telling you these things, getting you worked up over it. When all you need to do is say, well, you know what? I can't change people's minds. I mean, I can, but I'm not forcing to do that. I'm not forcing you to change your mind. I can offer advice on things that I've learned with myself, how to control my thoughts, and how to have peace in my heart, like literally, and not let these things bother me, because I've battled and fought demons through people, a gazillions of them. So I'm battle tested with it. So I can give you my advice, and you can take it or you leave it. I'm not going to get offended either way. I just truly wish that people would stop fighting with themselves. Is not the source your pleasures that wage war in your members? You lust and do not have. So you commit murder. You are envious and cannot obtain. Murdering a spirit. When you're just these false prophets on YouTube, you're murdering the spirits of the people that believe you. You are envious and cannot obtain. It sounds like SJD. So you fight and quarrel. But when will you stop acting? You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, so that you may spend it on your pleasures. I told my wife this earlier, talking about judging my son for not working at this moment, but yet he has a job at Amazon. At Amazon. It's going to be amazing at that store. And So, but he took his like month off, went from door dashing. Before that, it was up to me to get the car running so he can do the DoorDash, but I had no time to do things, so I understand. And when I finally got the car running, the very first thing he did, he went out and DoorDashed and continually started the DoorDash. And then when we were going to move to Florida, he made like 500 hours real quick, so he was motivated to do it. So every single time my wife judged him and complained about him not working, from the time that I put the car together, from the time beforehand that the car, 6 months prior to that, because I had no time, she had no right to say anything and judge him towards the work, because it was my responsibility to get the car moving, to be able to fix it, put it together so he can be on the road and get a job. So when he got on the road and got a job, that's exactly what he did. So all of the hostility that my wife had towards my son was unnecessary. It was created because of the motives in her head were wrong. So if she asked God to forgive her for anything, he's not, because she's not forgiving herself for judging him, she hasn't stopped judging him, just with a judgment with it. I said, if you have irritation as you're talking about a specific person, then you're judging them. Period, point blank. You're judging them. If you have irritation in your heart, if you have disgust when you think about somebody, it's because you're judging them. You're judging them. God isn't going to forgive you when you're asking him to forgive you for anything when you're judging somebody else. It's just not going to do it. It's not the way the Spirit works. And then the same thing. So he took his little break, I understand. Said he had the job on the 14th from 3 weeks ago. But it's like almost every day this spirit that torments my wife inside, and she thinks and says it immediately about the feeling of, yeah, he's not going to sit around and lay around, he's not going to work, and he's not going to pay for this. I heard this yesterday, honey. I heard it the day before. You told me this the day before that and the day before that. And I asked you kindly to not judge. If there's one thing you can do, don't do it, which is judge. Thou shalt not judge. For your own sake, for your own well-being, don't judge anybody. As soon as you understand that key point, stop judging people. Stop attaching your feelings to what you perceive to be true, because you can perceive one thing to be true and you get so disgusted, like, God, and then you can perceive it to be the other way and it really wasn't the way you said it was, and you're like, I'm not even bothered by it. The whole point is, take it. You got both angles. You're seeing it for this way. You've already experienced all the disgust that you had because you thought this was true. But then you came to find out, oh wait, they're not gang stalkers. That was just a normal incident. And you're just like, I was judging them. I've been through this because of the Gang Stalk Corporation and perceiving things to be that and then getting irritated at it. And then something happens where it proves that it wasn't. It's like, I kind of feel like a fucking idiot. But you learn by doing that. So that's why I say, when you don't attach feelings to what you believe and you're perceiving, whether it's true or a lie, don't attach your emotions to it and you won't judge. And that's it. And it will just fall off your shoulders, and it's like, just like when you think people are watching you, people are judging you. Stop caring what you perceive your thoughts to be as to what you think somebody else is thinking. Then you realize it doesn't even matter what people are thinking, because they're battling in their own head, they're in their own world, they're walking, they're doing their thing, and you realize more and more that it's just you with your thoughts. Nobody knows what you're actually thinking. But even if they did know what you're thinking, why does that even matter anyway? So you perceive it as, it doesn't even, I don't even care. Who cares if you know what I'm thinking? I'm telling you what I'm thinking. Then it goes even further to where you don't even care if they can see through your own damn eyes? What are you hiding? Oh, well, thou shalt not touch the tree of life. Oh, okay. So that's a sin. Well, isn't it? So we're born like this. Let me get this straight. We're born like this. We have a desire, a feeling, and you're told you're not supposed to have that feeling? Oh, okay, yeah, that makes no sense. So, but you're saying it's a sin, thou shalt not touch it, lest you die. So you'll believe it to the extreme, literal, to go to inverting it and putting it inside of you where it can no longer be seen. Well, that's the male-female system. That's a trick to turn you into a female. It's Satan's trick. Yeah, it might be cool to play hide and seek and your tree is grown longer and extends out further and AI technology. Well, either way, you still have a desire to do something, and so what would my sin be? Show me my sin. Show it to me. Because if you're seeing through my eyes, day in and day out, the main sin that I have would be, is it a sin to be irritated at what you perceive someone to be lying about? Well, what if you're right? Then you're right. All right, you're right. Fine, great. You're right, Rob. You're great, prideful. So you're pride. So basically, your pride is what it is. Because if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. I pray that those that I thought were agents are not. I just pray that you're just a regular human being too. And I pray that the truth will be spoken by everybody. And there's no more trickery. And I pray that I can tolerate ignorance, liars, deceivers. That's good, it's hand in hand, same thing. I just pray that I can tolerate it and not judge it. Because if I shall not judge, judgment brings on irritation. It brings on the anger. Why am I getting angry? Because I'm perceiving something that I'm judging to be something that makes me sick. Well, I'm allowing something to make me sick. It doesn't make me sick. I'm allowing something to make me sick. So when I don't judge anything, I can't feel sick about anything. If I don't look at anything like, if I look at it like, alright, well, look, Satan's running through people. I understand, you have to lie. You're scared to death, you can't tell the truth because you swore to secrecy. I don't blame you. But just understand that you're going to be forced to take one side or the other. And if not, 1/3 of the part of men are looking to be slain. 1/3 of men to be slain. Because being slain as a man, you are transforming into a woman. Even though you still have your tree, it's just inside of you. Because therefore, from the outside, you don't look like a man. You look like a woman or an angel. Because aliens have that thing that they don't, it's inside of them. Their pleasure is inside and you can't see it. That's how I see it. I hope I explained it clearly to those that I've accused. And I'll say it now. If you're not, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me for accusing you of being an agent? Will you forgive me for complimenting you for having such a high intelligence level that I can't freaking believe that you can possibly be just a regular person from the outside looking in? Will you forgive me for raising you up and putting you on this pedestal of highest intelligence because I think that you're possibly someone from the inside? Will you forgive me for that? If not, I'll forgive you for lying to me about it and keeping swear and secrecy, because the truth will be told regardless. And I'm not going to be offended that any longer. I'm not going to be offended anymore. That if I think someone's an agent, look, let me think what I want to think. How's that? How's that? Don't force me to try to believe what you're saying, because I don't force you to try to believe me. It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Anybody, it truly does not matter, because what does matter is there are those that do believe, and they already see it, and they already know what the outcome is going to be. I just don't know the day or the hour, but I'm hoping it's May 21st. October 21st, 2021. If not, I'm hoping that it's 11/11/2021. If not, I'm hoping it's 12/12, because Steve is supposed to win on 12/12, 2021. So I'm hoping that it's this year, and that day and hour is coming up. So you ask and do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives. That goes back to, if my wife is asking for God to forgive her for something, well, you are asking, the motives that you have, you forget that you're judging somebody else, and you're not asking God to forgive you for being judgmental. So you're not going to get the benefits, the blessings of a prayer being answered, because basically your prayers could be answered just by speaking them out loud, or even in your own spirit, making yourself aware of what you need to work on, so that you may spend it on your pleasure. You adulterous, do you not know that friendship with the world, this world, like the system, is hostility towards God? You know, lying, cheating, stealing, being greedy, not sharing your tunic if you have more than one. Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you think that the scripture speaks to no purpose? He jealously desires the Spirit which he has made to dwell in us. So some will take that literally, the Spirit dwelling inside of you, but it's a spirit. But he gives a greater grace. Therefore, it says, God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Drawing near to God. Submit therefore to God, not to me, not to Justin, not to SJD, not to Derek, not to Jonathan Clegg, not to anybody, not even to Ra, God. No, to God, Spirit. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. In your own mind, he will flee from you. The devil himself will constantly come at you with people or in your own head. But when you resist him yourself, and you say, shut up, dude. Get behind me, Satan. Because you know that he's present with you because he runs your flesh. Then he'll flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Be miserable and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning, and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves in the presence of the Lord, and he will exalt you. Do not speak against one another, brethren. He who speaks against a brother or judges his brother, so here's the main part right here. This is what we're all guilty of. So let's just stop. Speaks against the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge of it. Here's how I look at judgmental. I have an opinion towards what people may or may not be. I'm not saying one definitively or the other. Therefore, I'm not being dogmatic and I don't have a judgment call. I have an assumption over here and I have an opinion over there. To judge is, it's that definite, I don't know. Because there is one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save you, to save and to destroy. But who are you who judge your neighbor? Do not boast about tomorrow. Come now, you who say tomorrow, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city and spend a year there and engage in business and make a profit. Yet you do not know what your life will be like tomorrow. You are just a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and also do this or that. But as it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Therefore, to one who knows the right thing to do and does not do it, to him is sin. So there you go. Do you know what's right and wrong, but you choose wrong because your boss that you know of now is basically Satan, and you're not understanding that Satan transforms himself into an angel of light in the end? So this is like being dogmatic. Don't say that tomorrow we're going to do this and that and go up there for a year and make that, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you're being dogmatic about what you're doing. You're boasting in what you're going to be doing. It's arrogance. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, like if I'm still alive, then this is what I'll do. Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries which are coming upon you. So this is ever so drawing near. Your riches have rotted and your garments have become moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver have rusted, and their rust will be a witness against you and will consume your flesh like fire. It is in the last days that you have stored up your treasures. Behold, the pay of the laborers who mowed your fields and which has been withheld by you cries out against you, and the outcry of those who did the harvesting has reached the ears of the Lord of Sabbath. You have lived luxuriously on earth and led a life of wanton pleasure. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and put to death the righteous man who does not resist you, who was not opposing you. Patience and suffering. Boy, yep, that's what happens. Patience in suffering. Therefore be patient, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. The farmer waits for the precious produce of the soil, being patient about it until it gets the early and later and latter rain. You too be patient, strengthen your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is near. Do not complain against one another, so that you yourselves may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing right at the door. As an example, brethren, of suffering and patience, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. We count those blessed who endured. You have heard of the endurance of Job and have seen the outcome of the Lord's dealings. So you've seen the outcome of the Lord's dealings with the endurance of Job. That the Lord is full of compassion and is merciful. But above all, my brethren, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, But your yes is to be yes, and your no is no, so that you may not fall under judgment. The prayer of faith. Is anyone among you suffering? Then he must pray. Is anyone cheerful? He is to sing praises. Is anyone among you sick? Like sick of lies? Well, then he must call for the elders of the church, and they are to pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will restore the one who is sick. So it's like this. I'm sick of liars, right? I need to go to God and ask for forgiveness of judging people that are liars with a sick feeling, to help me tolerate sickness so I don't get sick. And prayer offered in faith will restore the one who is sick, and the Lord will raise him up. So your spirit will be lifted up when you stop judging people for whether they're lying or not, whether they're agents or not, whether they're this or that. Don't attach your feelings to the negative or the positive. Stay neutral, in the moment, now, not the past, not the future, right at this exact moment. As you're breathing in air and exhaling, this is your life right now. Live it. Enjoy it as much as you possibly can. And if he has committed sins, they will be forgiven him. Therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so that you may be healed. The effective prayer of a righteous man can accomplish much. Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the earth for 3 years and 6 months. Why would he pray earnestly for it to not rain? Why would Elijah not want the truth to be heard for 3 years and 6 months? Then he prayed again, and the sky poured rain, and the earth produced its fruit. Restoring a sinner. My brethren, if anyone among you strays from the truth, and one turns him back, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the error of his way will save his soul from death, and will cover a multitude of sins.